without taking so much time, I'm going to request Elder Peter Maina. He's a religious leader. He's also a businessman. He has what it takes. He has stayed in business, I think, throughout his life, and he's going to make an official opening remarks. So, Elder Peter Maina, you have 30 minutes to make your presentation. Karibu.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. How is your day? Not fine. Basically, you are late. Okay? And that is one of the things that you should collect in your lifetime. Okay? I wish I had an opportunity like you when I was at your age. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers. Some of you are skeptical about this forum, but I know at the end of the day, you'll have gained something. If at least you'll walk out from this hall having a 30 or 40% of all what you learn from here, I'm sure it will change your life. Okay? So be patient, keep time, be of good sound mind, so that whatever it is being spoken here, it will help you. Okay? Any one of you who have come across this book? Hands up. Yes. Baba Mumbi. It is called, they call it the Jewish phenomenon. And we claim ourselves to be Jewish. So there are some things which Jews do differently from other tribes or from other people who are in this world. They do things differently, and I'll just take some few to show that, in fact, they have excelled in this world. And we are heading there if we will be disciplined enough, and if we will take whatever it is spoken here to be your guide. First, let me introduce this Jewish phenomenon. Niongeze miwani kidogo. The population of the Jews in the world is very tiny compared to the other tribes of the world. Let me start in page 4, introduction. Let's see, the percentage of Jewish households with income greater than $50,000 is double that of non-Jews. On the other hand, the percentage of Jewish household which income is less than $20,000 US is half of that of non-Jews. Jewish advantage in economical status persists to the present day. It remains higher than the white Protestants and Catholic, even among households of similar age, compositions, and location. 40% of top 40 of the Forbes 400 richest Americans are Jewish. Okay? 1/3 of American multi-millionaires are direct as Jewish. 20% of professors at leading universities are Jewish. 40% of partners in leading law firms in New York and Washington are Jewish. 30% of American Nobel Prize winners in science and 25% of all American Nobel winners are Jews. So you can see how these people have excelled. And what is their population? The Jewish population is surprisingly small. The facts are extraordinary, considering that Jewish Americans make up 2% of US populations, about 6 million, of Americans 300 million. Tuwako ngapi? 2%. Note that. And there's already 6 million Jewish people in America out of 300 million. And if we go back there, and the richest 400 Americans, 40% are Jewish. You can see the phenomenon. These are only 2%. And out of 400, the richest people in America, you can see 40% are Jewish. That is why they call it, it is Jewish phenomenon. In the world of 6 billion people, there are only 13 million Jews, only 1/5 of 1%. Unashika hiyo? In the world of 6 billion people, there are only 13 million Jews, only 1/5 of 1%. So, you can see how these people have excelled. Out of the 6 billion people, Jewish are 1/5 of 1% of the population of this world. And still, they pursue their career vigorously and they excel. Yes, Jewish perspective on money. I'll read page 12 and page 13. Jewish perspective on money. Wealth is good. Listen to this. Wealth is good. According to the New Testament, the Christian world has, at the best, an ambivalent attitude toward money and wealth. Enter for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. It is easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle than someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of Elohim. Matthew 19:24, Luke 18:25, Mark 10:25. You cannot serve Elohim with wealth. Luke 16:13. If you have food and clothing, we will be content with this. But those who want to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many senseless and harmful desires that drag people into ruin and destruction. Timothy 6:8 and 9. For love of money is the root of all kind of evil. Timothy 6:10. For Jews, listen this one. For Jews, on the other hand, wealth is a good thing, a worthy and respectable goal to survive toward. What's more, once you earn it, it is tragic to lose it. Judaism has never considered poverty as virtue. The first Jews were not poor, and that was good. The Jewish founding fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, were blessed with cattle, land in abundance. Asceticism and self-denial are not Jewish ideas. With your financial house in order, it is easier to pursue your spiritual life. Okay? With your financial house in order, it is easier to pursue your spiritual life. Where there is no flower, there is no Bible. Where there is no flower, there is no Bible.
So it is easier to pursue.
Yeah?
With your financial house in order.
Yeah. It says, with your financial house in order, it is easier to pursue your spiritual life. Where there is no flower, there is no Bible.
What is that flower being mentioned there?
Flower, unga. Where there is no flower, there is no Bible. Kama hakuna unga ndani ya nyumba, hakuna Biblia. Tasomaje kama uko na njaa? There's no Bible. Haya, poverty causes flagelations. Umaskini inafanya watu. Poverty causes flagellation. Poverty is in a man's house is worse than 50 plagues. Poverty in a man's house is worse than 50 plagues. The Talmud, collection of books of rabbinical commentary on the Old Testament. You have brought your brains here, and you should know my brain is the key to set me free. Are we together? So it is your brain which will set you free. How does it set you free? A mind, as a slogan goes, is a terrible thing to waste. A mind, as a slogan goes, is a terrible thing to waste. The best possible investment you can make in your future is an education. Even if you devote on your student loan, nobody can possess your diploma. Is it not true? It's true. Afadhali waambie mtu akukopee usome. Even if you devote, he cannot possess your diploma. No. It is such a basic concept, but the promise of an education often falls on deaf ears. Do you get what the writer is saying? It is such a basic concept, but the promise of education often falls on deaf ears. Getting an education requires the ability to defer gratification for a bigger payoff later. An ability Jews have had reason to develop. The value of an education is really not a secret. It is similar to the miracle of compounding financial returns given with every pinch for retirement savings. The Jews' secret is how, listen to this, for this is what you have come here to learn. The Jewish secret is how they have come to fully embrace the idea of good education and execute it. As just one example, after World War II, Jewish veterans took advantage of GI Bill's educational benefits at a rate twice that of general population. Now, how do Jews model their children? This is how they model their children. My father sat me down as a child and explained to me as his father had done to him. You see, this is something which is brought forward from one generation to the other generation. Higher. How the world works. How does the world work? There are rules and they should not be broken. How does the world work? If you like to pray aloud, you need to earn your free time. Taka mchezo kama mlioko naye asubuhi ya leo, naambiwa mfike saa 2, mnafika saa 5. Haya. If you like to pray aloud, you need to earn your free time. How do you earn your free time? It takes a good education and good grades. Then you can get a job and make good money. Having earned your way, you can pray aloud for a much longer time with more expensive toys. Now, Steve, if you get that out of order, the system does not work. The system does not work. Higher. You can pray for a little while, but then end up with a few inexpensive toys that eventually break. Then you are left working even harder for the rest of your life with no toys and no fun. If you mess, like you think you have the whole time of this world, the time is very short for you. And as time goes, you will realize, yesterday you are a kid, today you are almost married, you are almost to your goals. But it's just like yesterday. So if you pray aloud, it will be very expensive for you. You work hard, you will not have toys to pray with. The ones you thought you had in expensive toys, they will break down and you will be left with none. That is how Jews learn from one generation to the other. That is how they teach their children to manage time and education. But we have heard that this is just simplistic, and sometimes it fell on deaf ears, because people, or the generation we have today, yaka baba na mama, yaka mama, and you are that generation. That is why you are killing one another, because you don't know another's called no. You only know yes. Na mtauana, na mtakufa, na mtatuacha. And so it goes on. Because you are not serious with life. You should be very serious with life. Okay? That is education. From there, let's see about education. This is how the Jews think differently from people. An Ephraim is foretold, he said, in 5 days the rain will incessant and the world will be whipped out. So it has just been pronounced in 5 days by the meteorological. There will be a very heavy rain and the world will be whipped out. Higher. The Dalai Lama addresses the world Buddhist and says, meditate and prepare for your next reincarnation. That is the Buddhist. The Pope holds an audience and tells Catholics, confess your sins and pray. To the Christian world. What about the Jewish world? The Rabbi of Israel goes on a TV and says, we have 5 days to learn to live underwater. That is how Jews think differently from other people. We have only 5 days to learn to live underwater.
Just come up again. What do the Christians say?
Yeah. Dalai Lama, the Pope holds an audience and tells Catholics, confess your sins and pray. Dalai Lama addresses the world Buddhists and say, meditate and prepare for your next reincarnation. So, the chief rabbi of Israel goes on TV and says, we have 5 days to learn to live underwater. So there is no big problem that cannot be solved within the Jewish mind. That is what we want to learn. Every problem has an answer to it. So, and that is why we are here. And that is why it is therefore not surprisingly that 40% of American Nobel prizes in science and economics have been awarded to Jews. And Jews have won 25% of all Nobel prizes awarded to Americans. Unaona hiyo percentage vile inaenda? These people are only 2%. And Nobel prizes in science and economics have been, it is therefore not surprisingly that 40% of American Jews Nobel prizes in science and economics have been awarded to Jews. And 25, and the Jews have owned 25% of the Nobel prizes awarded to Americans. So you can see how education can do wonders with proper advices and proper knowledge which the Jews had developed throughout their life. Have a listen to this one. A young stranger in New York was seeking Columbia University, but the midterm election he had received only confused him, and he became lost. Luckily, he saw a scholarly old gentleman approaching with a load of books under his arm. He stopped the professional man. Tell me, sir, how do you get to Columbia University? How do you think the professor, the old man with a load of books, told the young man? Because he is confused. He was asking for the election. Higher. The old man deliberated the question for a moment or two and then replied, study, young man. Constant study. That is the way to Columbia University. The old man deliberated the question for a moment or two and then replied, study, young man, constant study. So many mambo ya masomo, soma, so many. Haya, for that, Jews had developed something which is called charity. After they have their wealth, the next thing they do is to have something that is called charity. And they say this: take care of your own and they will take care of you. Which comes first? Yeah? Take care of your own and they will take care of you. To safeguard and enhance the health of their community, Jews seriously deploy their wealth and their time for both charity and social action. The numbers are incredible considering the small size of the Jewish population. It is written in the Talmud, you are only as well as the amount you are able to give. In Jewish community, as a whole Jews, giving has made them very wealthy. Skizeni. In Jewish community as a whole, Jews giving has made them very wealthy. The book of Leviticus is even more explicit. You are forbidden to reap the whole harvest. A remnant in the corner must be left for the poor. In addition, Jews understand that when the community serves itself, it also controls its own destiny. Are we together? Jews understand that when the community serves itself, it also controls its own destiny. According to Jewish proverb, he who pays has the say. The philosophy of self-sufficiency applies to humanitarian assistance as well as government lobbying on issues of interest. Jews have that if your group depends on the funding of others, it becomes subordinate to the funding group. Kwa pamoja? That is why Jews have to have their house in order. Because as the proverb goes, he who pays has the say. This philosopher, also self-sufficient, applies to humanitarian assistance as well as government lobbying on issues of interest. Jews believe that if your group depends on the funding of others, it becomes subordinate to the funding group. So we must strive to help one another so that we don't depend with anybody else. Na ndio sababu sisi hatuitagi harambee. Hata tukijenga, hata tukifanya nini, hatuiti watu watuletee pesa ya harambee. We deal with what we have. And that is the idea that has brought us here. We must help one another, build a strong society that will not depend on others. Charity is different for Jews, isn't here? Jews and non-Jews differ on their views of charitable giving. Jews are taught that charity is an obligation rooted in social justice. It's an obligation rooted in social justice. Not in love or pity for their fellow men. It is not. Not for love or pity for their fellow men. The word for charity in Hebrew is sadak. From the root word, sadak meaning justice. Justice ni nini na Kikuyu? Huh? Yeah. You must do justice. Higher. Or righteousness. The other meaning of Zadak is justice or righteousness. The word charity comes from Latin word caritas, meaning love. Love for mankind, support of social justice is common theme in Jewish giving because of their Jews' long history of suffering discrimination. Upon what does the world rest? Upon singular pillar, and its name is justice, the Talmud. Dunia yote inashikiliwa na only one pillar known as justice. In Judaism, the best donation is the one that aims to create an independent recipient. In Judaism, the best donation is the one that aims to create an independent recipient. Moses Moinavich, in 12th century scholar and philosopher, determined that there are 8 degrees of Zadok. 1. The person gives reluctantly. The person gives graciously, but less than his or her means. 3. The person gives the proper amount, but only after being asked. 4. The person gives before being asked. 5. The person gives without knowledge of the recipient, but the recipient knows the donor. 6. The person gives without his or her own identity known. 7. The person gives without knowing the recipient and without making his or her identity known. 8. And this is the highest grade. The person helps another by enabling that person to become self-sufficient through a gift or loan, or helping him gain a skill or find employment. That is the highest grade.
3.
Yeah?
Point 8.
Point 8. I'll read it.
Go slow.
Yeah, I'll go slow so that you understand. It is the highest grade. So people should listen to this. The person helps another by enabling that person to become self-sufficient through a gift or loan, or helping him gain a skill or find employment. That is the highest order. In addition, the book of Leviticus describes a holiness code. Should get this one. The interpretation of somebody who is holy. The code of being holy. In addition, the book of Leviticus describes holiness code. Humanity is holy because Elohim is holy. But our expression of that holiness is not, for the most part through our actions towards Elohim, such as worship, meditation, or sacrifices. The holiness code focuses on our responsibility towards other people. That is the code of holiness. The holiness code focuses on our responsibility towards other people. That code. And you know, watu wengi ngumu sana kupeana. Anaimba, ana worship, ana sacrifice, haya mambo. Lakini kwa Wayahudi, that code, and because humanity is holy as Elohim is holy, as is written in the book of Leviticus. But the code of holiness is this. The holiness code focuses on our responsibility towards other people. That one should stick in your mind throughout your life. Throughout your life. When it is written, should be holy because Elohim is holy. You should know the code of justice. Supporting the Jewish community by patronizing Jewish business. What a better way is there to support your own community and provide people a way to support themselves? It sounds simple, but its effects are profound. Jews were secluded in ghettos of Eastern Europe and in armed concentration in New York. As a result, they patronized their own from the use of professional services such as medicine, law, to meeting everyday needs by using the local grocery, butcher, baker, tailor, car dealer, or home builder. Jews have a heightened sensitivity to doing business with their own. To do business with their own. That is how, what is better way is there to support our own community and provide people a way to support themselves. So, we have heard, if you have a doctor, we use him. We have a lawyer, among us, we use that lawyer. We have a butcher in our locality. As a Jew, don't buy from the other butcher. Go buy from the Jewish. Make sure you pass there, you buy. If there is a grocery, a Jewish grocery, go there and promote it. That is how the Jews survive. I almost over, don't mind. Successful people are professionals and entrepreneurs. Listen to that. Successful people are professionals and entrepreneurs. Doctors, lawyer, businessman is the commonly held refrain among Jewish people, deciding on an occasion. An American Jew, as American Jews have pursued higher education with a passion. Many have naturally sought out professional occupation with the same fervor. Many others have become entrepreneurs and independent business owners. Both paths lend to higher than average income and a greater potential for wealth accumulation. The Jewish value of delayed gratification, as I mentioned earlier, work hard now, go to school, and you get your reward later. I don't know whether that concept, you are getting it proper. Delaying, the Jewish value of delaying gratification, as I mentioned earlier, work hard now, go to school, and you will get your reward later, a prize here. In fact, it seems that a young Jewish person choice is not whether to follow a profession or a business path, but which path to pursue. It is not a choice. It is in Jewish mind. Am I going to be a professional or an entrepreneur? It is not a choice. Sorry. Minute. Listen to this one. A Jewish mother is walking down the street with her two young sons. A passerby asks her, how old are the boys? The boys are. Listen to the answer. The doctor is 3. The mother answers, and the lawyer is too. You see the Jewish mind? He is creating in that child that he has to become a doctor, and the other one has to become a lawyer. A lawyer. By the middle of 20th century, 20% of Jewish males were professionals, double the national average, and that 5% were proprietors, 3 times the national average. 55% of all the Jewish men were pursuing white-collar careers with high income potential, while the majority of non-Jewish workers were still in blue-collar jobs. You see the difference? While the other people think the blue-collar job is enough, the Jewish pursue the white-collar job. Sociologists characterize the Jews as the first ethnic group for which physical labor is thoroughly absent. Sociologists characterize the Jews as the first ethnic group for which physical labor is thoroughly absent. By 1970, a scant 1% of American Jews were manual laborers. Just 1%. By 1970. So you can see how they mold their people to become professionals and entrepreneurs. How about women? Are they left behind? No. Upon completing their education, Jewish women seek professional occupations at a rate nearly 5 times that of non-Jews. Unasikia? Upon completing their education, Jewish women seek professional occupation at a rate nearly 5 times that of non-Jews. In 1980, nearly half of that percent old female Jews had professional occupations, compared to 20% of the prior generation. Jewish women were moving from clerical, Jewish women were moving from clerical and sales position to professional jobs, when non-Jews were just moving from blue-collar employment into clerical and sales jobs. A 1980 study of Jewish female college freshmen found that 9% wanted to become lawyers, followed by elementary school teachers, 6%, business managers, 6%, doctors, 6%, and secondary school teachers, 1%. That is how the Jewish women focus and pursue their careers. You have all the time in your hands, and you can be one of these Jewish women who pursue their careers with vigor, and they succeed. So it is not about whether you can, it is a must. You can. What about IT, computers, which are now all over the world? This book has a lot of things which we cannot cover today. This was just an opening remarks. Jewish computer industry leaders. There are many, but we shall talk of this one. The wealthiest Jewish American is not a real estate mogul or financer. He is a computer entrepreneur. As in other industries where Jews have excelled, change comes quickly. Rules are meant to be broken, and creativity is at a premium. Michael Dell, who have a computer out of Mike Dell? You have one here? Is a poster boy for entrepreneur success. Dell was a driven college freshman in 1983 when he had a crazy idea. He thought he could be more efficient than IBM or Compaq by selling computers directly to consumers. He began at the University of Texas selling PC upgrades from his dorm room, and then moved up to making entire PC clones. Ati ameanza wapi? Kwa dorm. Jewish mind. I will not be here tomorrow, so I have to finish. I'm only here this time and then I leave. So you have all the other time you want, you discuss with them. Okay? Thank you. Dell assembled his computer from standard components and sold them through the mall. With Dell personal stake worth 17 billion US dollars in 2008. I wanted you to catch that one. In 2008, he had 17 billion US dollar from 1983 being a student in a university. From a dorm. And that is how he made his fortune. So, there is a lot of opportunity before you, young people. I almost done, don't worry, Sharon. Now, what to be learned? Tutasoma nini? What are we to learn from here? 1, pursue professional career, but be prepared to turn into an entrepreneur. That is one. That is what you should learn from this forum. Pursue a professional career, but be prepared to turn into an entrepreneur. 2, within your career, leave time for entrepreneurial pursuits. 3, pursue new opportunities or areas that are outside the mainstream. Haya ni mambo matatu ambayo unatakiwa kusoma. Number 2, within your career, leave time for entrepreneurial pursuits. You leave that time. Hata kama wewe ni mwalimu, hata kama wewe ni daktari, hata kama wewe ni nani. Those are the 3 things you should learn from here. Why? Money means power and security to Jews. Why? Money means power and security to Jews. Jews households with high income and controlled spending habits have created a great deal of personal wealth for the Jewish community to draw upon. as the millionaire next door demonstrate, living below their means is one of the factors common among millionaires. Living below their means is a common factor among millionaires. For Jews, wealth is a tool for survival. Without money, Jews feel themselves as naked to their enemies. Without money, Jews feel themselves as naked to their enemies. So that is how Jews take money matters very seriously, because they feel if they don't have money, then they are naked to their enemies. And we finish with this one. One might mistakenly surmise that because Judaism emphasizes its history and religious writing, it is conservative culture that does not encourage individuality and creativity. On contrary, these qualities have been integral to the Jewish character. The president was said by the Jewish patriarch Abraham. Abraham broke with the traditions by proclaiming a single Elohim in time when everyone else prayed to idols. In fact, his father Terah owned a shop that sold idols. Abraham could not accept the idea that these idols possessed any power, and so he destroyed them. Then and there, Abraham stood alone, an individual, and the first Jew. What a battle that must have been. What a battle that must have been. What a battle that must have been. So celebrate individuality and encourage creativity. And the first Jew, we learn that he broke from the norm of the day. His father, everyone was idol worshiper. His father had a shop selling idols, but Abraham stood and said no. So Judaism encouraged individuality and what they call creativity. You must be your own. It is you as an individual. It is not us. You have my life, you have yours, you have your mind. It is you. When you come out of this forum, it is you to decide which path are you gonna take. And in those few or more words, I declare this forum officially opened. Thank you.
Changamsha sana moyo wako, sifuate njia za moyo wako, bali kumbuka kuna.
You see what happens is, when you go to school and the teacher shares the knowledge he has, the teacher does not become poor, isn't it? Yeah? So just like we learned, those people who are rich and they give out or they share, they are even more richer. Those rich people who do not share, they become more poor. Okay? I remember there's a verse in the book of Proverbs which says, "In who waters will be watered," isn't it? Number two is take care of your own and then take care of you. Take care of your community and your community will take care of you. So don't be so selfish. Share out, give out. says, whatever measure you meet, the same will be measured back to you. I think that's in the book of Luke. So always remember that. Number 3, successful people are professionals and entrepreneurs. So always aim to be successful. Always aim to be an entrepreneur. There is something in our mind that everyone can be able to express, and that's why each of us is very unique. And the mind being given by God, I mean, we are told that we rarely use a quarter of the power of our mind. So go down deep into your mind, try to get that beautiful idea, and then try to make it work. Number 4, develop your verbal confidence. And this is very, very key. Even when you are talking, when you're speaking, when expressing yourself, try to be as much confident as you can be. And this can only happen when we interact with people. See how they speak, and so on and so forth. I remember Andrew Daga. He learned a course called public speaking. Yeah? Public speaking. When you're speaking to people, look at their eyes, be confident, because to show that what you're saying, you're sure about it. Just be confident about yourself. Don't be shy, so be confident. If you are confident, you become successful and you become rich. Number 5, be selectively extravagant, but prudently frugal. Yeah? Selectively extravagant but prudently frugal. Can someone check out the meaning of those words? Extravagant. Who is Mr. President? What's the meaning of that word? Extravagant. EXTRAVAGANT. Extravagant.
Extravagant means lacking restraints in spending money or using resources.
Okay, lacking restraints. But here you are being advised, being selectively extravagant. So
Tell them to check the word.
frugal, F-R-U-G-A-L.
Opposite of extravagant.
Good. Now, extravagant means without restraint, but here you are advised to be selectively extravagant. Okay? Selectively, like the dog there has only given 1,000 to a certain group. He didn't give 1,000 to every other group, because that group did well. Yeah? He was selective. Okay? Then frugal is the opposite of that. Prudent. You have to be prudently frugal. Number 6, take pride in individuality, encourage creativity. Be the person you are. Don't look out to be like the other person. Each of us has his own personality. Be yourself. Discover your own self and be the you. Okay? Because you are unique. Don't want to be like the other person. Try to develop that self in yourself. Of course, encourage creativity. Sometimes sit back, look up, think widely, yeah? Read widely, like reading like these books. Read as much as you can. And this, of course, encourages creativity. Number 7, being psychologically driven to prove something. Don't set doubts for yourself. Yeah? Think like a philosopher. world things. Yeah? Expand your horizons. Okay? Those are the keys to success. Thank you.
Unapata hayo ndio mambo ambao Wayahudi wanasema there are 7 keys to succeed, to success. Kwa hivyo na sisi lazima tuwe kwa hiyo line. You must be on that line if you want to succeed. Okay? Namba 4 hiyo inasema develop your verbal confidence. Wengine hapa naona mkiongea, mko shule, kuongea Kizungu inakuwa shida. You cannot express yourself in an office. What about if you are called in an interview? What will you do? Naongea Kizungu nusu nachanganya na chini, halafu half-baked English. And you call yourself university students, secondary students, and you cannot able to express yourself in a fluent English. What is that? Hiyo ni shida. Ujuage hiyo ni ugonjwa uko naye, and you must rectify that. Okay? Wapo utaenda kwa ofisi, kakuta jamaa pale anakusikiza na kuambia, okay, unawacha makaratasi hapo imejaa folder, kile hakuna mtu hapo na haja naye. Hapo na haja na ile kitu inatoka kwa roho yako na your mind. Kama wewe ni duni, wewe huwezi ongoza, wewe wa kuongozwa, na ulikuwa unaenda mtihani ya kuongoza. You wanted to be a manager, a bank manager, a company manager, and you cannot express yourself freely. Mliona ile msichana alikuwa hapa jana, so mlikuwa mnaona anaongea Kiingereza hivi fluent. You must be like her. Kwa hivyo those are the 7 keys ili Wayahudi wanatumia ili waweze kuwa successful. Kuna watu wengine don't care. You don't care whether it is this or that. You don't care to listen to your teachers. You don't care to listen to your parents. Mr. Know-all. Mr. Know-all. Those people with that attitude of don't care, they never succeed in life. Auangalie wale watu wanaongoza migomo kwa shule, they don't care. Angalia mkitoka kwa shule, fuata huyo mtu. Fuata yule mtu ambaye asikizi baba mama yake. Wanakufa wakiwa very young. Hiyo ndio yao inawapeleka mpaka kwa shida. They die at their prime age. They die at their prime age. Don't care. Your attitude, I don't care, hiyo itakuletea shida mingi sana. Kwa hivyo karibia tu hapa. Tutaenda tukiguza kwa hizo point, tutaguza kitu kidogo sababu kwa nini nasemekana understand that real well is portable, it is knowledge. Kusoma wakati ile lakini tulikuwa tunaenda video. Sasa tutaguza point ndio mtu ajue kwa nini nasemekana hivyo. Kwa hiyo nataka tusome tu hapa.
Understand that real wealth is portable, it's knowledge. It's one way means of being successful. So what does that mean? There's a guy called Harry Houdini. He says that my brain is key to set me free. My brain is key to set me free. And every one of us has their own brain. So use your brain to set you free. So it says a mind, as the slogan goes, is a terrible thing to waste. The best possible investment you can make in your future is an education. Even if you fall on your student loan, nobody can possess your diploma. It is such a basic concept, but the promise of education often falls on deaf ears. Getting an education requires the ability to defer gratification for a bigger payoff later. An ability Jews have had reason to develop. The value of an education is really not a secret. It is similar to the miracle of compounding financial returns given with every pitch for retirement savings. The Jewish secret is how they have come to fully embrace the idea of a good education and execute it.
You understand that?
Yes.
That is very, very important. Shiko, ni kitu gani umepata hapa?
The mind so ukipata opportunity ya kusoma doesn't matter kwanza utachukua loan ama nini.
Alafu my second point, kijana mwenye jacket nyekundu, the secret ability to defer gratification. Ability to defer gratification. Uliona daktari hapa akituambia wakati walikuwa nasoma, wengine bado wanacheza huko na music na nini na nini. Sababu yeye alijua, alikuwa na hisi to defer gratification, na hiyo watu wengi ndio wanapotea hapo. Anataka gratification, kama ni kijana yeye ni macho, nataka kupeleka wasichana outing, hiyo ni ya muda. Utakutwa na ile ulioacha pale akisoma, unaona kama ni mjinga, atakupita barabarani na gari na hiyo msichana yako na anakurushia vumbi, anakupiga na maji, mjinga, nikataa kusoma. Wale watu wote daktari mlikuwa na alio wewe. Why? They didn't have the secret of deferring gratification. That is very, very important. Let's go to the second point on page 35. Take care.
Take care of your own and they will take care of you. To safeguard and enhance the health of the community, Jews zealously deploy their wealth and their time for both charity and social action. The numbers are incredible considering the small size of the Jewish population. In spite of the stereotype that they are misery, Jews happen to be the most philanthropic ethnic group in the country. The ability to organize and utilize economic power has been a prime source of the Jewish American community's strength. Their charitable giving not only supports their expanded world community, it also helps individual Jews up the economic ladder.
Kishapo, expand that one.
So basically this means being philanthropic is a way of giving. I'm sure you've heard of a person like Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, and many other Jews. They are not because of their giving up. You hear me donate to foundations, millions of dollars. Yeah? We also give to health causes, like malaria vaccination and all that sort of those things. So they are very philanthropic because they know the secret of the hour of, the secret of the power of giving. They are giving back to the community because the same community that will give them, that will give back to them.
But mostly to their community, their community first, so that they help the other Jews to cry their land. Okay? And that is where we came to this point, number 8.
Still on the same, take care of your own and they take care of you. It says, in addition, the book of Leviticus describes, number 8 says, that the person helps another by enabling that person to become self-sufficient through a gift or loan, or helping him gain a skill or find employment. That is the highest degree of tzedakah.
Aidha tulisema hiyo vitu zimo. Kila mtu azime simu. We say this is the highest order. There are 8 of them, and the last one is to help someone to come out of poverty. And we heard that Zadak in Hebrew, charity in Hebrew is Zadak, from the root word Zedek, meaning justice or righteousness. Kwa hivyo kupeana hadi kutoa nasemekana ni justice or righteousness, na ikasemekana upon what does the world rest, upon a singular pillar, and its name is justice.
So in addition, the book of Leviticus describes a holiness code. Humanity is holy because Elohim is holy. But our expression of that holiness is not, for most parts, through our actions towards Elohim, such as worship, meditation, or sacrifices. The holiness code focuses on our responsibility towards other people. Yeah? So it's basically what we do to the other people, and that's why we have learned that Jews are very philanthropic. They give back to their own community. So you cannot say that you are holy towards Elohim, but you do nothing to your fellow human being. So that's very, very,
like it's very key. Okay? That is very key. Why it is written, should be holy because Elohim is holy. It means you must take care of the other person. That is the goal of holiness. Unashika vizuri? Bali inaandikwa lazima muwe mtakatifu, sababu yeye ni mtakatifu. Inaamini ya kuwa lazima unaangalia huyu mwingine, sababu Elohim naye anakuangalia, anakupa uhai, anakupa nguvu ya kupata hiyo, na wewe angalia mwingine. That is the holiness or justice to the humanity.
So it's basically like this. God has done what He can to make us to be like Him. Okay? So in the same way, if you are rich or you are enabled, do something for that other person to be like yourself. That's where Jews drew that spirit of being philanthropic. God has given us everything, including access to the eternal salvation by giving us His Messiah. So in the same way, if you are enabled, make all things possible for your neighbor to be enabled like you are. That's how God sees us being holy as He wishes us to be.
And so as to achieve that goal, what would you do exactly to make sure we help one another? As read something here.
They are calling it Jewish Free Loan Societies. Another important way in which Jews have helped their own financially has been the creation of Jewish Free Loan Societies to directly help immigrants and others in need. There are about 40 of these institutions around the country, and they make about $40 million in loans each year, interest-free. Local endowments support these societies, exclusively funded by the Jewish community. As it is written in the book of Exodus, if you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, do not act toward them as a creditor. Exact no interest from them. So what you hear here, or rather what we are hearing from this, is that there are Jews who give out to these freedom societies. And in turn, these institutions give free loans to their local Jews. In line with the scripture in the book of Exodus, you shall give to your brothers, but demand no interest. So that is what they follow. And you can hear the amount of money we're talking here, 40 million.
Sasa hiyo ni ngapi? 40 million US dollar. Hebu chapa hiyo hesabu.
Multiplied by 110.
4 billion.
4 billion.
4 billion pensions.
Yeah, with 110. 4.4 billion yearly. And that's what I can see. If we do that, hiyo ndio naangalia mbele. Wakati tutafika hiki kiwango, takuwa tutakuwa na kitu kama hii ya kusaidia with free interest.
Interest free.
Interest free. Lakini lazima honest iwapo na faithfulness. Sababu najua wamesia wengi wamekuwa wabaya sana. Tu akikopeshwa halipi. We have lost so much money. Unampea huyu baba shukuru, mkopesheni tarudi, hawarudishi. Sijui wanasema sijui namna gani, hataki kurudisha. Na kwa nini? Hiyo shida lazima tumalize if we want to grow. Sababu tulisomewa mtu mbaya anakopa harudishi. Kwa hivyo inaonekana ile mtu anakopa na halipi, roho yake ni mbaya. Lakini we must strive to have something like this one if you want our people to grow. Na nyinyi ambao mnasoma, tunataka msome haraka sana, ndio tunawafundisha, ndio mtoke, you make wealth. Okay? Ndio tuweze kusaidiana. We will help you where we can, but tunataka nyinyi sababu mnasoma mtoke haraka tupate makampuni kubwa, tusinikishe nyinyi mkienda hapo tukwenda China kuleta vitu na kuleta hapa na kuuza. Kwa hiyo we are looking forward to see what happen. With that one, let's go to page 53.
The number 3 was about successful people, professionals and entrepreneurs. So, doctor, lawyer, businessman is a commonly held theme among Jewish people deciding on an occupation. If you go to a city like New York, most of the leading law firms are headed by Jews. Most senior doctors in the US are Jews. The other wealthiest business people in the US are Jews. And Mark Zuckerberg, by then, is a very young man.
Kwa hivyo those three pass. Hiyo njia tatu ndio Wayahudi watachagua. Unataka kuwa professional, unataka kuwa lawyer, doctor, or a businessman, or a business lady. Haya mambo matatu ndio Wayahudi wanaangalia, they focus on that. Na ndio tulisoma, a Jewish mother is walking down the street with her two young sons. A passerby asks her how old the boys are. The doctor is 3, the mother answers, and the lawyer is 2. You see, they set the children to that path, and they exert pressure to make sure that that child will follow. No. Kwa hivyo lazima tuwe focused if we are to win this game. Lazima tuwe focused ndio tuweze kushindana na hii ulimwengu.
Still on the successful people are professionals and entrepreneurs. What Jewish experience gives rise to entrepreneurship. The common theme here is a feeling of an outsider. Running your own business appeals to in terms of premiums. He can earn 10 million. Or in the same month, he can earn 100,000. So the sky is your limit. And that's what entrepreneurs actually look for. You are your own boss. And then this other one was to be learned. Pursue a professional career, but be prepared to turn into an entrepreneur. The doctor has given us an example. This is a very worst thing. Now you're a doctor, but you're doing other things. Yeah? Aim to be a professional, but at the end of it, always be prepared to be an entrepreneur. Number 2, within your career, leave time for entrepreneurial pursuits. Yeah? Always leave that room. Don't just be fixated on one role. Number 3, pursue new opportunities or areas that are outside the mainstream. And that's very, very, very important. Areas that are outside the mainstream. I showed you about role here. So some people might think that it's not a good thing. But it is what most people are not doing. That's where wealth lies.
Nasikia hiyo kengele, nasema masaa imekwisha. Kitabu iko hapa, naweza soma baadaye. Lakini tutamalizia na nitanisomea Koherezo 7 ndio nimalizie, sitaki kula masaa mengine. Tuomera Koherezo Mungu wajeka mwaka 12 na 19. Ngoja kama alikauga 12 na wadoga 19. Haraka.
Koherezo Mungu waja 12 joke doge
19.
Nigukorwo ngende mwigito o ta uria pia ire mwigito no riri ugi wi wa umenyi mundu ni uyu ati ugi ni uturagia mundu muoyo uria wina guo kejokere riki nigukorwo ugi ni mwigito o ta uria pia ire mwigito no riri ugi wa umenyi maundu ni uyu ati ũũgĩ nĩ ũtũragia mũndũ muoyo ũrĩa wĩ naguo.
Simama hapo. Mwaigua. Ũũgĩ ũhana ũto. Na ũũgĩ nĩ ũtũragia mũndũ muoyo. Na nĩkĩo twĩhaha tũthome ũũgĩ kama nĩ 19.
Ti-itherũ hatirĩ mũndũ mũthingu gũkũ thĩ wĩkaga o wega mũcari.
Kaũra ka 18.
Ũũgĩ nĩguo wĩkĩraga mũndũ mũũgĩ hinya gũkĩra athani 10 arĩa me itũũra-inĩ.
Ũũgĩ nĩguo wĩkagĩra kĩ? Mũndũ hinya gũkĩra athani 10. Koguo mũgĩthoma mume na ũũgĩ ũyũ rĩ, ũgũkorwo ũgũteithĩtie mũno mũno. Haya, ĩkoherero kenda mweri wa 10 no marauga atĩ.
Verse 11. Verse 11 yakaga. Ningĩ gũkũ thĩ kwaraga riũa, gĩcoka ngĩona atĩ andũ arĩa mahotanaga hĩtahĩtano-inĩ rĩ, ti arĩa mena hinya, ona arĩa mahotanaga mbara-inĩ rĩ, ti arĩa mena hinya, ona arĩa monaga irio rĩ, ti arĩa oogĩ, ona kana ũtonga ũgatuĩka wa andũ arĩa mamenyete wega maũndũ, ona kana gĩtĩo gĩtuĩke kĩa arĩa oogĩ. No gũkũ thĩ no gĩkuũ na mũtino ikinyagĩra andũ othe.
Haya, Elohim nĩ amenyete hakiri cia andũ othe itingĩhota mathomo ciothe. Katigo. No akiuga atĩrĩrĩ, we ũtekũhota ũguo, ndũgecirie atĩ we rĩu tondũ ndwahotire gũthoma atĩ rĩu nĩ ndaigua toka no andũ arĩa kĩ ogĩ arĩa magĩthomire rĩu niĩ nĩ ndarira rĩu niĩ no thire kũheo mabuti no thire gwĩka atĩ no koguo atĩ to acio mangĩgĩa no tonga. It is your mind can set you free. Okay? It is your mind that can set you free. Koguo ti atĩ arĩa ũngĩ no mangĩona ũtonga. Nĩkĩo Elohim acokire akĩaria ũguo nĩgetha ũcio nake wĩna ũndũ ũngĩ akũhete ũngĩtũma wone kĩ ũtonga. Tũrĩkie na gũcokerithia Mathari 28 kamweri kau ga 12 na 13.
Chapter
28 verse 12 and 13.
Chapter 13. Kaido. Elohim nĩ agakũhingũrĩra kũndũ kũrĩa mũthithũ wake mwega ũigĩtwo. Na ũguo nĩ ta kuuga igũrũ matu-inĩ nĩgetha rĩkuragĩrie mbura ĩrĩa bũrũri waku ũbatairio nĩyo hĩndĩ yarĩo rĩakinya, na arathime mawĩra mothe marĩa marutagwo na moko maku, nawe nĩ ũkohoragĩra ndũrĩrĩ nyingĩ indo, no rĩrĩ we mwene ndũkohorerwo harĩ cio. Nake mwene hinya nĩ agatua ta we wĩ mũtwe na ndũgatuĩka ta wĩ gĩthita, nawe ũgaikara ũkĩrĩte andũ arĩa angĩ, no we ndũgakĩrwo nĩo, ũngĩkorwo nĩ ũgũtũũra ũiguĩte maathani ma mwene hinya.
Koguo mũrathiĩ atĩ ithuĩ twĩ rũrĩrĩ rũrathime, na Elohim nĩ ahingũraga irathimo ciake kuma igũrũ igakinyĩrĩra andũ arĩa othe maiguaga kĩ maathani make. Atĩ nĩ akũhingũrĩra irathimo ciothe tondũ no ũheanaga. Na uga atĩrĩrĩ, we nĩ ũgakombagĩra andũ rĩ, no tio maekaga atĩa, no tuo rĩkombaga kuma kũrĩ o. Ũndũ ũrĩa ũngĩakwĩra atĩrĩrĩ, we agagũtua mũtwe na agagũtua mũtimo ũyũ. So reason, why do you think you should be that tail? Why you should be the head? Ũrenda gũtuĩka mũtongo nĩkĩ? Na Elohim akwĩrĩte we wĩ mũtwe, as long as nĩ ũramenyera maathani make. That concept ya gũikara na kũu wĩ mũtongo rĩ, ũhiũragia mũtongo ũyũ, ũrahiũria mũtongo nĩkĩ ũreka na kũu. Nafanya nini huko kwa mkia? Should be here. Work smart with your brain with your brains. Mnajua watu kama tingo uthie kware uhure mahiga uria wi mutwe kundaga kinya no ni mwero uria muritumu but let's stay in job uria wi urarituha no kuria horai rai uria wi urahutha tondu rutagwo naki na hakiri na mutwe noguo urihaga wega na noguo mundu aikaraga wega. Okay, koguo no nginya wiciragie ni ndi mutwe ni ndi mutongoe ni ndi guthi kuinyua guo ne ngui enagio rimwe kura Israeli kwari mundu witagwo Sharon rimwe secretary of state neokire kumera matige gwakana kimura igwiri tutituragiria mundu maru tuturagiria uria wi iguru riu gatheti itagwo Times yandikite atiri kaburi gaka ni kanini muno na kageire gukorwo ke mutingo no ri mutingo ni gurainia ngui handu hakuinie mutingo undu ucio wa Times ndio kuria rutete horo ucio ati handu hakuinie mutingo mutingo ni gurainia ngui undu Amerika ni bururi na hinya muno no ni omarainio ni Israeli tondu Israeli atumira ciri turathimara na ciugo icio na mugetha ihinda rĩega na kĩrĩa gĩothe mũgũthoma mũthimũrithie wĩra. Asante.